The contention match for the IBF World Featherweight belt is at hand, and the Japanese wonder southpaw, who has gone unnoticed for far too long, Rhea Abe, is coming to take it. Abe finds himself as part of a new generation of Japanese boxers determined to crown their homeland as a producer of the new best in the sweet science. Defending himself from his title from Abe's onslaught is Luis Alberto Lopez, the lightning-quick brawler who's already defended the title twice from formidable opponents. But this time, Lopez faces a skilled and tenacious southpaw. It's going to be a banger. Here's all you need to know going into it. Abe reaches for the championship. Rhea Abe was born on March 25, 1993, in Yama District, Fukushima, Japan. Unfortunately, as it is frequently the case with lesser-known boxers on the internet, not much information is known about their childhood and early life at all. We can surmise that, like many other Japanese boxers who became professionals, he had to train and practice in the midst of a difficult school life. After all, Japanese parents are known for their emphasis on completing formal high school education no matter what. Following the completion of his studies, he's had a rather low-key amateur stint. For many Japanese boxers, it's a very short stint, but full of action nonetheless. Abe made his professional debut against Tetsui Hiroaka on June 2, 2013 at the age of 20, and won the fight by unanimous decision. After suffering his first professional loss to Kobe Kobayashi by unanimous decision, Abe won his 4 next fights to qualify for the featherweight event of the East Japan Rookie of the Year tournament. Abe faced the undefeated Hakura Itakura in the tournament semifinals and won the fight by a second-round technical knockout. Advancing to East Japan Rookie of the Year tournament finals, Abe faced Naoto Miura and won the fight by a first-round knockout. He was awarded the Fighting Award at the post-fight ceremony in recognition of his budding skills in technical fighting that will go on to serve him well later on. After winning the All Japan Rookie title, Abe faced the 12-fight veteran Shingo Kasano in 2015. He lost the fight by majority decision, but he went on to win over the next few matches, which kept him in contention for the belt. He got his chance the following year and faced Kusano again. This time, he turned the tables completely by way of technical knockout, stopping Kusano in the 5th round. Abe faced Tsuyoshi Tomita on October 17, 2016, in his final fight of the year. He won the bout by an 8-round technical knockout. From 2017 onwards, he would be facing international opponents, his first being the WBC, ABC Super Featherweight champion Joy None of the Philippines in the featherweight non-title bout on February 18, 2017. He won the fight by unanimous decision. 8 months later, Abe faced the more experienced Satoshi Hosono. He won the fight by technical decision. Abe faced Daisuke Watanabe on March 2, 2018 in his first fight of the year. He also won this fight by unanimous decision. The stakes kept rising higher, even if slowly. Soon, Abe was booked to face the unbeaten Daisuke Sugita in a Japanese title eliminator on January 19, 2019. He won the fight by unanimous decision by outboxing him in a way he could have never expected. This fight earned him the opportunity to fight for the Japanese national featherweight title. This fight was against Taiki Minamoto, who was able to keep Abe under enough pressure to deny him the belt by way of ending the match at a draw. His next match allowed him to fight for it again as the belt was vacated. This time, he faced Ryo Sagawa, who has recently been struggling within the Japanese circuit. But in this match in 2019, he defeated Rhea Abe soundly, but after a period of low intensity through COVID, as Japan instituted some of the strictest COVID regulations. He came back in 2022 to contend for the title again, along with the WBO Asia Pacific belt. Facing Hanato Matsura this time, he defeated him and triumphantly became the national Japanese featherweight champion after all those years. He has since defended it from Jinka Maeda, and after a non-title bout against the experienced Kiko Martinez on the 8th of April 2023, he finally has his world title shot. As of now, Abe has had 29 fights, with 25 wins, 10 by KO, 3 losses, and 1 draw. This has been over a decade of fighting as a professional. It's time that he gets his first international big break. Lopez holds his ground yet again. Luis Alberto Lopez, also known as El Venado or the Deer, was born on August 21, 1993 in Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. Growing up in Mexicali during the 90s, he showed an inclination and an affinity for sports. This is where we have to talk about his nickname, as when he was younger, he became known for his speed at running. This is what earned him the nickname El Venado, or the Deer. Life for him in Mexicali was not all sunshines though, as he did get himself into scraps and street fights as a teenager. His family, including his brothers, played a significant role in supporting his career. They encouraged him to channel his energy into discipline and professional fighting, rather than getting involved in street fights. The best way to make it in sports for a Mexican child? Boxing. He began training and eventually went on to have a short amateur career with fights taking place in Mexicali and around Baja California. Details of his amateur stint are unfortunately not known, but despite it being short, it didn't stop him when he started his professional boxing career in 2015 at the age of 22. His first pro fight was against Francisco Javier Pacheco on November 6, 2015, and won the fight by split decision. Showing great talent and strength early on, he went on to ravage the local scene as a featherweight through the next 3 years. He amassed a 16-1 record, with half of those victories being through KOs and TKOs. The one defeat during this time was at the hands of a rather formidable Abraham Montoya in 2018, who still goes around Mexico and the USA beating opponents to a pulp. He once held the Mexican Pacific Coast Super Featherweight title, but lost to Montoya. But he seized the chance to fight for a more lucrative belt on February 28, 2019. On that day, Lopez faced Ray Jimenez for the vacant WBO International Featherweight title on February 28, 2019. This was also his United States debut, and he amazed the crowd through a technical decision win in the 8th round. However, it came time to defend this belt against Ruben Villa in May of the same year, who handed Lopez his second professional loss via unanimous decision. Leading up to the upcoming fight against Abe, this was his last defeat as he made a comeback and scored some upset victories right after losing to Lopez. It was against two journeyman opponents, and then Lopez won against the undefeated Christian Baez and Andy Vences, despite coming into the fights as an underdog. Baez was taken out via 5th round TKO, while Andy Vences lost via split decision. With both opponents being tough in their own right, these were spectacular victories that marked a new degree of technicality within Lopez's fight game. If it hadn't been for COVID, he likely would have had the chance to compete for a world title by 2021. But COVID did happen, and thus, his fight frequency was reduced. He wouldn't return until September 10, 2021, which was marked by a fight against the then undefeated Gabriel Flores Jr. Flores fell to his unrelenting speed and control of the ring, losing via unanimous decision. After this, he had to win a few more fights before being granted the chance to fight for the IBF featherweight title. The journey began by fighting Isaac Lowe in the UK, who was also another undefeated prospect defeated by him. Lowe was sent home via 7th round TKO. After 2 more non-title bouts, he was matched against the then reigning IBF featherweight champion Josh Warrington on December 10, 2022, and won the title. The fight in Leeds, UK was intense, as Warrington made him fight inch by inch for victory. Lopez even received a cut over the left eye in the 2nd round due to a clash of heads. It was bloody, and it was brutal. But after a full 12 rounds, Lopez was declared the victor. As of now, he's held the IBF featherweight title since 2022. He's since defended the title against Michael Conlan, who he brutalized enough for him to throw in the towel in the 5th round, and then Joet Gonzalez. Coming into the Abe fight, his professional record stands at 29 wins, 16 by KO, and 2 losses. He remains fully aware of how slippery his opponent is going to be, but is determined to score a spectacular victory nonetheless, and is looking to aim higher afterwards. Let him tell you himself, my long-term goal is to fight other champions and become a unified champion. I welcome a fight with whomever is next in line. Honestly, I want to unify the titles quickly and establish myself as a great champion and then move up to 130 pounds. The fans know that I give everything in the ring. I always look for the fight. I always look to win by knockout. They know that I come here to fight, so it's going to be a real war. It's going to be a bit complicated in the early rounds, but everybody knows that when I step in the ring, it's always going to be a war. Fighters compared. Being the southpaw that he is, Abe prefers to use his technical skills to guide his way to unassailable victory over his opponents. This is taken further by the fact that Abe is known to not favor being a brawler, and instead the focus he has speaks for itself, as among his many victories, he stands having won 10 of his fights by KO. His upcoming opponent Luis Alberto Lopez describes him best. He's a very slippery fighter. He doesn't really like to brawl, so it's going to be difficult to catch him in the early rounds. Indeed, Abe does prefer to use his slim physique and bottomless stamina reserves to always try to remain one step ahead of his opponent. This is a style against which many of his brawling Japanese opponents failed, but Lopez is more than just that. While Lopez began fighting as a pro 2 years after Abe, it can be safely said that Lopez by far has had the most diversity in the opponents he has fought and has faced the pressure to remain adaptable for many years. After all, he couldn't have held the IBF featherweight title without being at least some degree of smart and adaptable. He fights from a traditional orthodox stance, which by itself may prove to be some of the difficulty when facing Abe. It's simply a natural disadvantage that must be overcome in skill, and skill is something that Lopez has in abundance either way. He's known for his ability to cut off the ring effectively, which involves cornering his opponent and limiting their movement. At first glance, he may appear to be a typical power-punching Mexican. Make no mistake, he has that in spades, as evidenced by the fact that he's won 16 of his fights by KO. His punching power has indeed taken him places, but his package wouldn't be complete without his capacity for good tactical play. He could very well pressure Abe into corners and force him into the box outside of his element. This is where Lopez's temperament can do serious damage to Abe. However, on the other hand, the cards will be leveled if Abe displays greater speed. It's going to be a close one, unless a surprise KO lands somehow. But what do you think? Will Rhea Abe claim the title? Or will Lopez hold on to it yet again? Leave us a like and subscribe. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.